All right. Hey, we are live. Ooh. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I'm Lorraine Allen Scott, and I am here with a special guest tonight. And I'm super excited because just the information she has to share is just phenomenal. So, without further ado, Megan Nolan is here. She helps purpose driven entrepreneurs use their yoga practice to fully embody and become the version of themselves that their business needs them to be. I think that's fantastic. So that they can make the difference that they're meant to and have the income that they are destined for, which is amazing because when you can help other people and you're making money at it, you know you're doing a good job. So she's a personal trainer and a yoga instructor with over 16 years experience. I'm going ahead 2 years.
Perfect.
And she's the creator of the elevation method. And it's her unique combination of yoga, breath work, and neurohacking techniques, getting into that brain. I love it. And that's how she gets her students the amazing results. So, Megan, thank you for being here. Please let us know a little more of what I haven't shared. What do you want to share about yourself?
Well, thank you so much. It's so great to be here with you. I appreciate that beautiful introduction. And yeah, so let me share some fun facts. Well, I'm a New Year's baby. I was born at 3:15 in the morning on New Year's Day. And so that's a really fun way to bring in the new year. What else?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I accidentally adopted a rooster by accident. So we have chickens and roosters here in the backyard. They just roam free on Maui. And so one day there was a mama chicken and the baby chickens. And I was like, oh, so cute. And then a couple of days later, there was no mama chicken and only baby chickens, and gradually fewer and fewer. But they had been taught to come to the banana tree that's right here and drink out of the water basin that's underneath to water them. And so I was like, well, I'll take care of the baby chickens. So I'm out there with the quinoa and the gluten-free bread, standard, right? And so then eventually there was only one left. And I didn't know that, you couldn't tell if it was a chicken or a rooster till adolescence, which makes sense. So it's kind of funny, that I adopted a rooster. And it's even more ironic because I'm actually less and less now, but for most of my life was absolutely terrified of birds. And so it was kind of ironic that I accidentally adopted a rooster. So he's helped me, there's been some healing and some peeling away the layers. So yeah, it's just a little bit fun facts about me.
I love that. That's fantastic. It's amazing what spirit gives us when we need it. So I love it. I love it. Oh, Sabrina's here. Sabrina says hello. And she says, so nice to see you both. My son was born on the 3rd. The thought he was coming on the 1st, though. Oh, wow. I know 2 people who I hung out with as teenagers that are New Year's babies. And yeah, so that's a good thing. So you're a keeper.
Thank you. Yeah, I was actually a week late. I was meant to be a Christmas baby, but I just held on for a different holiday, which I'm happy about, because it's more of a celebration holiday and people are sort of in that mode anyway. So, and there's always fireworks. So
yeah, gotta like that.
Right.
Yeah. And Jessalyn is here. She says hello.
Hello. Great to have you. Yes.
All right. So what do you got to share with us tonight? The yoga guru that you are, Guru-S.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Well, pursuant to our conversation earlier today, it's so funny because people say that and I'm always like, no, I'm not. And I mean, I think really as we learn, we learn that there's so much more for us to know, right? And so I've been doing this work for, as you said, 16 years, and I've been practicing yoga for about 20. And so it's taken a lot of different expressions and incarnations. And so pre-COVID, I was doing workplace wellness. And so I was teaching yoga in a variety of local businesses here. And then of course, last March, everything changed. And so what it really allowed me to do was to bring to life some projects that I hadn't really had the time for. And so what I started to explore was some work that I had been working on myself and in some class series and workshops, really going deep into the warrior poses, because a lot of people, we do, if you've been on a yoga mat before, you've probably done the warrior poses in yoga.
That's actually
But
my favorite.
is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one?
Well, I just know the warrior pose. I don't know the varieties of them, but
Oh, okay.
it's my favorite. It just feels so empowering. And although I haven't practiced yoga in years, I really want to get back into it in a form that I can do it at this point with my flexibility.
Yeah, perfect. Well, and the thing about yoga is that it's adaptable. There's flexibility to it. Where is that you get to adapt the practice to you, and so you can kind of mold it to what you need. So yeah, traditionally there's 3 warrior poses. And so what I started to realize is that I had created this whole project that I was doing myself. I was using these poses and the story behind them. And I was had created this whole series, and I really hadn't brought it to life. And then last year at this time, I was like, what do I do? Well, not this time, but last March, and so I was feeling just really lost and anxious. And so I brought to life this whole series called Wake the Warrior Within. And really what it helps people to do is activate these qualities that we need all the time. But I think specifically we needed at the beginning of the pandemic of feeling grounded and being resilient and being courageous and being determined. And what a lot of people don't realize is that that's really what yoga is helping you to cultivate, beyond being able to stand on one foot, which is great. It's great. Let's be real. It's good. It's important for you to be able to navigate the wiggles and wobbles of life, and balance is important because that lends to strong bones and healthy muscles and good hormonal balance and sleep and all of those amazing things. And those are all amazing benefits, of course, which I'm a huge advocate for. But a lot of people don't realize is the inner shifts that are happening when we practice yoga. And what you're really cultivating is that sense of focus and being present and being able to, stand yourself back up when you tip over a little bit, or be able to witness when you're getting stressed out or you're having patterns that are keeping you stuck and frustrated. So really, that's what I started to recognize that I had been doing for myself in my yoga practice and sharing with my students. But now I'm so grateful to be able to share it on a much wider scale because of the availability of, everybody was online all of a sudden. And so it was a really amazing opportunity to be able to share these tools. And so I just think it's so powerful. So I'm grateful to share them with you and your beautiful community.
Yeah, and it's so needed. I think for me anyways, as a recovering perfectionist, I was more focused on getting the pose right and feeling down on myself because I couldn't do it exactly like they were on the video that I was watching, that I wasn't even in that mindful state. I was just focused on my body. So you bring up a really good point. And I think that's the crux of this practice. It's about mindfulness, and that's when your body is in alignment physically, it's so much easier to be in alignment mentally, right?
Absolutely. And yoga reveals what's already there. My teacher likes to say that all the time. It just reveals what's already there. It's not making your feet tight or your hamstrings tight. It's showing you that it's tight. And so if you get on the mat and you're comparing yourself to the teacher or other people in the room or on the video, then we are showing ourselves that we tend to practice being comparing, comparisonitis as it's called, or if we're wanting to make the pose perfect, then it's perfectionism. It's just revealing these habits that we already have. And so, that's what I like to say to people, are you practicing yoga or are you practicing being a perfectionist? And so it's really just being okay with where you're at, because what we're really doing is practicing awareness, right? And if it's something you want to keep and you want to cultivate and you want to deepen and bring into your life off the mat, then brilliant, keep it going, make it stronger, take it with you. Or if you're like, ooh, this is okay, maybe something I don't want to do anymore, then we start to just shift it and you become that creator and be able to make the decision going forward. And that's where you can use your intention, because as you said, your everything stems from your alignment. So if you want to start with the physical alignment, when you put yourself in the poses and you stretch yourself in certain ways, it affects how you feel, right? Which then affects your emotional state, which then affects your emotional alignment. So it's a beautiful ripple effect.
Yeah, I love that. And as an introvert, for me, I've never been to a yoga studio. I've always done like the canned videos or stuff at home, and I like it that way because I would be too busy and comparatitis. Is that even a thing?
Yeah,
You
sure
know
it
that.
is.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, so no, I think I'd rather just do it from home. But for me too, there'd be less distraction and more ability to kind of hone in on myself and what's going on. Yeah. What's
Mm,
Sabrina saying here? Oh, she does yoga every Friday at 6:30 a.m. I want to do
yeah,
it more often though.
awesome.
Yeah, and I do the moves my way. Yeah, well, and that's what we were talking about before we actually hopped on the call, right, Megan? It's that
Mhm.
it's not about perfection is the way they do it, but find what works for you, and that's the key. Yeah.
It is the key, and it's being okay with what it is every day, and that's the being present and being compassionate, rather than expecting that it's supposed to take this certain shape, and only when it does take that shape are you doing it quote unquote correctly. And that's not true. It's like when you're doing it, and that's the beauty of it, right? And it's
Hmm.
different from day to day. It's different from breath to breath, and so it's a practice of observation and being okay with what it is, right?
Yeah, I love that. That's like one of the Reiki principles. Just for today, I do my best. And it's really
Mm,
not about comparing. It's about what your best is for today, not what it was yesterday, not what you hope it to be tomorrow. So I can really see that, as part of a beautiful practice. And I'm excited now to do some things. So what ideas and what else you got to share? This is so good.
well, so yeah, let's talk about when one of the tools that we use in yoga that is really quite powerful, and that probably your community is familiar with in some senses already, of making a decision towards how you want to feel for the day and what you want to begin to embody. And oftentimes that's either labeled as an intention or an affirmation. And so we now know that when you begin to repeat something to yourself, so you think a thought and you combine it with an emotion, and you do it repeatedly, so a thought combined with a strong and powerful emotion, is when we begin to create a new belief for ourselves, right? So this is not just, way out there. This is verified neuroscience.
Hmm.
We
Yeah,
know
that's
this to be true.
exactly. Yeah, and I know, and that's stuff that I teach in my Infinite Possibilities course too. That's the key to it for sure. I love it.
Mm,
Love
mhm.
all this confirmation. Different doesn't matter the modality. It all funnels down the same intention.
I love that too. I love that too. And I love when these different modalities really overlap and intersect. And then there's science is like, oh, you and your ancient wisdom traditions, I guess you're right. It's
Finally,
like,
they're on board.
okay, on board.
Yeah.
Exactly. So one of the tools that the yogis would use, and then, conventional yogis and ancient yogis, is called a sankalpa. So a sankalpa is an intention. So that's the Sanskrit word for intention. And so that's exactly what you're doing. So you get to decide every time that you get on the mat, you set a sankalpa. And so sankalpa is a Sanskrit word meaning vow to the truth, because we believe, and you likely would agree, that you have everything that you need inside of you. You have all of the qualities, you have all the tools, you have all of
Mhm.
this seeds of limitless possibility. And so it's just a matter of practicing it, right? Because what we practice, we become. So the Sankalpa tool is making a decision. And it's using two of the most powerful words in the English language, I am. So using those two words and choosing a quality or a way of being that you really want to cultivate in your life, that makes you feel good, that you feel like you're going to need to handle whatever's on your list for the day, or that's going to help you like activate new strength and determination. You get to decide. So every time you get on the mat and practice your yogas, you choose one. And then throughout that practice, however long it is, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, whatever you got, it all counts and it's all beneficial. So, do not berate yourself if you can't do like 2 hours and 80 minutes of yoga every day. You get 5 minutes in, you're good to go. That's great. If that's what you can do, that's perfect. So using whatever sankalpa, repeating it to yourself. So here's where the neuroscience comes back in. Repeating the thought and then feeling the feeling, because a lot of those qualities that we want have both a mental expression and a physical expression. So you can cultivate the feeling of being grounded. You can cultivate the feeling of being open, being courageous, lifting and leading with your heart, whatever it is you want. So you got the thought and the feeling, and you repeat it over and over and over. And then you can create a new belief and a new way of being. So it's quite interesting, yeah?
I love it. I love it. Like I do meditation every day and I'm always harping on, preaching, suggesting to people
Encouraging.
yes, it doesn't matter how long you do it. It's more important to be consistent and those micro habits, right? You just do it for a few minutes. And I love this because I'm going to do this I'm going to make it, like Sabrina said, I'm going to make it my practice. And I'm not going to try and be in perfection mode where I have to have all of that time laid out in front of me. I can just do it for 5 minutes and incorporate that into my visualization. Mind blowing. I love this.
Oh, good. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate that you're receiving it like that. That's so beautiful. And so you can do it with anything, right? And so you can do that into your visualization, your meditation. You can do it into your morning walk with your woofer, like whatever it is you're doing. You can choose when you start to use these tools, because yoga is a practice for life. As much as it's awesome for you to stand on the yoga mat, it's really, the magic is not really on the mat. Like that's magical for sure, but the real depth to the practice comes from the application of the tools. And so the cool thing about that specific tool of Sankalpa is that when you repeat something after yourself, it actually, when you hardwire in that new belief, it activates a part of your brain called reticular activating system, which then begins to seek out information to validate that new belief for yourself. So you're already beginning to attract new opportunities because your brain is filtering in information that aligns with your beliefs. And that's very powerful. And that's very powerful because you'll start to begin to observe new things. New opportunities are flowing to you. You're creating new things in your life. You're connecting. You're like, oh, I should call Lorraine. I feel like I should just call her. And then she's like, I call you and you're all, oh, guess what? I was just wanting to talk to you. Yeah, exactly. And so that's when we're tapped in, right? And that's the alignment that we're talking about. And that's when we're out of the noise of the head, which, let's get real, it happens all the time. But when we can drop beneath the noise of the head and just come into that place of awareness and presence and intentional practice, then we start to shift. And that's really what yoga is ultimately about.
I love it. Yeah. What Sabrina? She's got some good nuggets. Micro habits lead to macro changes. I love that.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. And it's so true what you're saying about the I can always get that language wrong. Reticular, what is it?
Yeah, reticular.
Yeah. Well, and it's for weird little things too. Like, I'm thinking of getting a dog or an Iggy. That's my goal, an Italian Greyhound. And then you start seeing them everywhere, right? So that's more of a visual thinking of it. But when it comes to the actual applying the feeling and the emotion of this specific, practice in yoga, I think things can then come to you in so many different ways that reflect those experiences that you're looking for, that you're putting out there. I think that's golden, really. It's magic.
It is. It's magic. And it's also neuroscience.
There's magic in the science, and I love
that
because we need that validation. I mean, we live in the woo-woo world, but I'm always trying to not be super woo-woo about things because I feel that people discount it and poo-poo it. And although the people in my community and the people I hang with, we all relate to both sides of it, the right and the left brain. Everything has to,
Totally.
connect together. So
Woo it up. Let's woo it
I
up. I love
know.
it. I'm
Woo-hoo!
on
I put
board.
the
Woo
woo-hoo
woo.
in the woo-woo.
Yes, I love that. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, that's clever. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
hmm
Oh,
And
what's
that's another thing, people they look at yoga and they're like, oh, whoa, it's too out there. I don't know about that. What sort of like are things you're gonna have me saying? I don't know. And the thing about it is that you get to decide what it means to you. And Jesselyn, I live for woo. Yes, I love it. Yeah. Yeah. So you get to choose, and that's the thing. It has such like a vast array of options and tools, and there's so many
Mhm.
things out there. And you get to pick what sits for your heart, and you get to choose the words that you use. And of course there's crazy stories like I was telling you about with the warrior story. And a lot of that does come from the Buddhist traditions as well as Hindu traditions and Taoist. And so, but there's so many different overlaps between like telling stories and learning and being able to practice these things, because storytelling is such an ancient practice as well. And so it's just being
Yes.
open to learning and taking new perspectives. And that's really what we're doing, right? We're learning and growing.
Mhm. Absolutely. And I think it's like core yoga because with all of the different, locations, religions, spirituality, there's some core things that are the
Mhm.
same. So there's got to be something to that, right? And I think it's important to know that it incorporates everything. Where I for a while there I thought yoga was just a physical practice. And because it was tough, I didn't want to do it, but to be able to connect the dot, you've connected the dots for me. And I don't know anyone here, like, did anyone feel the same as me as far as, yoga is a practice of physical movement and balance? I know some people, I was talking to a fellow on the weekend who was saying that, he kind of poo-pooed yoga until he went and did it and said it was friggin' hard to do.
Yeah.
Like
A lot of people.
it's not a woo, oh, little bendy women, it takes some core, but there's more to it than that, right?
There is. Yeah. And a lot of people, they underestimate how challenging it is. And that's the first level, like there's always levels and layers to everything. But like when you get in there and you're starting to, like, oh, your muscles are shaking when you're trying to hold the pose. And then it's like, you can hear yourself. That's when the critic likes to come up like, what's the matter with you? You can't do this. You're just standing on one foot. What's so hard about that? But then
Yeah.
it's when we start to recognize, oh, look what I'm doing. I'm doing that. Am I actually being present? I'm actually, like she said, focusing on my foot and activating my muscles and just breathing in and out slowly. Because ultimately, yoga is a breathing practice. And so, we get caught up in doing it right and doing it better. But
Holding our
then
breath because we're
holding your
trying.
breath half the time. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, there's so many
Oh,
layers to it.
Christina
So
says,
many.
I need to try yoga again. Well, let's do
Oh,
it together. I
yay.
mean,
Yes.
not physically together, of course, but
Right.
yeah,
Socially
just
distanced. But yes, totally. I'd love that. I'd love
yeah,
that.
awesome. So, do you have anything else you want to share with us tonight? Don't you have something coming up? What's going on?
Well, I do. Good question. Why, thank you for that.
Kind of a
So,
rough segue, but
no, that was smooth. Silky, babe, silky.
woo!
Well, I do actually have a very fun workshop that's coming up. So, as I was telling you, I do love the warrior poses because, and as you said, I think they are some of the most powerful poses because not only do they help you to stand in your strength, they help you to own your power and recognize how focused you can be. Because the story behind the warrior poses, which is the one that not many people know, but will actually totally change how you view, because there are 3 of the poses, how you view those poses, how you do them, and how you are seeing yourself. Because the story is a little bit wild. I'm not going to lie. It's a wild story, but it's really about learning to see yourself in a different light. learning to recognize that you have a mission that you are going after, because the warrior in the story has a mission. He's charged with a mission and he's going after it, and he's relentless in that pursuit. And I know that you are as well. And so there's going to be little wiggles and wobbles, right? Like we've been speaking to, but it's learning how to navigate them, how to recenter yourself, how to use these tools of yoga to activate the qualities that we all need to be able to get to where we want to go, like courage and focus and awareness and all of these things that are so key to our journey. And that's really, as we've been speaking to, what we practice in yoga. So the workshop series is happening from June 14th to June 18th, and it will help you to wake the warrior within. So we're going to be diving into the story, into these poses, and you're going to learn powerful tools that you will use on your beautiful journey towards your amazing mission, so that you can take the tools of yoga off the mat and into your life and really put them to work for you.
I love it. I mean, just coming off of the 5-day challenge I did in my private group on igniting your inner confidence, I can see how this would integrate, standing in warrior position, feeling that, finding that confidence and taking that into your day. I'm so excited for this. I've signed up and I'm ready to rock.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. So, and the thing is that as we've been speaking to, there's lots of ways, as my teacher says, there's many paths to the same mountain. So there's lots of ways that we can do the poses and make them work for your body, based on what you're feeling for the day. If you've got stuff going on, there's lots of ways to modify. And so we're going to be diving more into the philosophy a little bit, and you're going to learn more about the what, less about the why and the how. And so it's really taking you into that deeper understanding. So it will change how you experience the poses when you get to practice them. So we'll be kind of going through all of that together.
Yeah. I mean, we're curious enough. We're a curious enough bunch that it'd be nice to know, that what makes it what it is. How do I make it into my own practice? Oh, Sabrina's already signed up. Well, let me see if I can share the link in the comments here.
Awesome. Thank you.
See if that goes. And hopefully that'll work for you if anyone needs to click that. But yeah, I think it's so important that people understand that it's a holistic way of looking at things, and to feel empowered, to have the different tools that we need to just live daily life, especially now with so much going on in the world and having to be stuck maybe stuck at home and you can't go anywhere, that there's still ways to feel empowered. And I think that's totally important.
I agree 100%. And that's so key. And that's really, of all the times. And that's why I think it's been such a beautiful opportunity, as we're still continuing this whole pandemic experience, to be able to continue to share these tools. And so, the work that I do and what I help people to do is really connect with that big vision of what you want for yourself in your life, and learning how to embody that expression of you today. And so bringing all those pieces together without needing a wide collection of crazy fancy equipment either.
Yeah, I like that. I mean,
so it's not an expensive endeavor.
Yeah, you don't even need a yoga mat, really. I mean, I don't know. It helps to have one. Yeah. I have one somewhere. When I move, I've got stuff piled. I'll have to dig it out, but it's definitely helpful.
Yeah. I would say that's one thing that you need.
Well, you hear all the talk about, on the mat, and it's like, I just feel like it's a different crowd, and it's like, I want that. So I'm gonna have to dig my mat out for sure.
Dig it out. Yeah. I know you got it in there, and just pull it out. And the thing about it is that once you have it out, it's a really good visual reminder.
That's so true. That actually makes me want to buy a new one just so I can start fresh. But no, I'm not going to get into perfection mode. I'm just going to dig one out.
Yeah, just work with what you got.
Yeah.
I'm happy to make suggestions about mats, though, because there are some really good ones out there that are worth the investment. And so, yeah, if you're curious
all right.
about that, let me know.
Well, yeah, by all means, if you have, share away. I'd love to hear.
Oh, okay. So there's a type of mat that is called Manduka.
Manduka.
Manduk. And
M-A-N.
it's awesome because you can go to Target and you can get yourself a $10 mat and it's going to shed. Like the ones with the little squares on them, they shed and they
Right. Oh,
they
okay.
basically just kind of rip apart. And like, let me show you this guy. I've had it for it's maybe a little bit dirty right now because I leave it on the ground, but I literally have had this for 10 years. And
Wow.
look at, there's it's hard to tell, but yeah, it's in really
Wow.
good shape.
Yeah.
So, and it was an investment initially, but you get what you pay for. So,
Well,
Manduk.
there you go. So, so you're in Hawaii, right? So you're in the U.S. So prices are obviously different. So it's U.S. pricing. However, what would you say is a good range of, cost for a yoga mat? Since you say you get what you pay for.
Depending on the quality. So Manduka, for example, has different thicknesses. So they have like a travel mat and then they have the mat, they call it, and that one's way heavier and way pricier. So this mat I got 10 years ago and I use it every day and I got it for $60. So
Oh,
initially it's more pricey than the $10 one. You might get a little sticker shock, but it's like I've had it for 10 years and I use it every day. It's paid
yeah.
for itself.
Well, that makes a difference too. How
Yeah.
much do you do with your practice? So what about the difference between the size, like the thickness? Does that depend on if you're using a hard floor below it or carpet or?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. So the thinner ones typically tend to be a travel mat because they like it, you can fold it up, put it in your suitcase when we can do such things again.
Hmm.
But I would say like typically at least about a centimeter thick. A little thicker is good, especially I even like when I put my knees down on the mat, I always cushion my knees underneath because I find I just need that extra little bit of support.
Hmm.
So, a little bit thicker if you prefer that and if you like that, but I would be mindful because sometimes what you'll see is you start to get into the realm of a Pilates mat and they are really thick. They're like more of an inch thick and they're squishy. They're squishy because you're
Oh,
laying down on them for the most of your Pilates practice. Whereas in yoga, we do a lot more standing up. And when you try to stand on the squishy one, it's like already an unstable surface.
right.
So just to be mindful, because those ones are smaller, they're not as wide, and they're much thicker. So be mindful when you're looking into that, because those are
Okay.
not ideal for yoga.
Good to know. Good to know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good.
So does anyone have any questions? And we still have a few people here. This is a good
Awesome.
opportunity if Megan, if you have time to answer any questions or if there's anything else you want to share while we're waiting for them to come through.
I would say, as you said, the consistency is the best. And, being able to work it into your life, you'll
Mhm.
feel the benefit. And it doesn't mean like you have to do it every day to get your gold star. As doing it as often as you can and just a little bit of time, you'll start to feel, because it's that consistency, right? It's a practice. It's not like a one and done. It's certainly not a perfect. So just being okay with that and being willing to be curious. So, in many different disciplines, we have what's called the beginner's mind, and being willing to be a witness and be curious. And that's really what it's all about. And so, give it a go. And you might be curious because the warrior poses are definitely very powerful and very strengthening. And so, yeah, I'd love to have you join us for the series.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. I love it. So we do have a question. Christina is asking, how long are the daily sessions of your workshop and what's the price?
Great question. So the workshop is totally free. So that one is totally free. So that's going to be a 5-day series from almost said March, from June 18th, time warp over here, from June 18th to June 14th. So, and then Christina, what you'll get when you sign up is a little pre-recorded video to your email inbox. And so each day you'll hear a little bit more of the story. And so in that chapter of the story of the warrior, you'll learn a little bit more about yoga, you'll learn a bit more about yourself, and you'll learn one tool. And so those ones are only going to be about 10 minutes long. So that's just the 10 minutes. And then if you want to go deeper, I will be going live each day in my Facebook community at 12 Pacific. So just a little, again, only like 10 minutes. So we're talking all in 20 minutes for the whole series. And then on Friday, we'll be doing a longer masterclass where we bring it all together and learn the whole story, get all the tools, go deeper, give you 3 keys to unlock the power of this powerful yoga practice. And so that will be the end of the workshop series. So does that answer your question? Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So it's really, if you can be there for the lives, it's great. But because they're in your group, they have access to the replay for a limited time, right? So that's great. Yeah. Well, it's definitely worth it, because I think having each day to bring that into practice and learning a new tool, it's a gradual way to stay consistent and to keep that accountability, knowing that there's another day, and checking in your community, the elevated, what's the name of your community again?
Elevated and Empowered Entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So I can grab you the link for that too.
Because what a great community. I mean, I'm just new to it, but it's just like the Empower Your Empathic Gifts group that I have, my little group. Well, we're all so encouraging of each other, right? So it's so important.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So that's the name of the community. But once you get signed up for the workshop, so Lorraine, if you want to drop the link again for the workshop, all the links that you're going to need are all in one place. I like to put things all together in one place. And so to your question, Christina, that if you miss a day, which, we're learning to be consistent with our practice. If you miss a day or you need to catch up, that's totally going to be awesome. And so there'll be a page where everything's on one page. So it's all like really easy for you to catch up. So that will be sent out to you once we get rolling. But yeah, I would definitely, if you're even at all curious, grab the link to sign up from Lorraine. And I would really love to be able to share these tools with you.
Awesome. Yeah, it's not letting me post that link again. It's in the comments. If you scroll, it's there, but I'll also post it again after. And yeah, you'll get a link to join the group from there. And it's definitely, and I love it that you're doing this. It's so valuable, but you're doing it for free. And I think that's so beautiful. And we appreciate it. We thank you so much for being here tonight. Does anyone else have any other questions? Sabrina saying, sounds awesome. Thank you for the opportunity to learn more.
You're welcome.
Christina, thank you for the info. Awesome. Oh, now Sabrina wants to go out and get a new mat. Good information. I love it.
Yeah, it's good. It's definitely it's a game changer, and so, when you feel like you're getting something that you really like, and then it's a good fit for you, you'll be able to, it changes, how you're feeling in your practice. So that's really great too.
Yeah. So it's so key. And I'm going to start practicing my little bit of yoga. So I'm a little conditioned for when this happens on the 14th, you said. So
yes,
that's great. Good. There's time.
Yes. Yeah. Prime it up.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Megan, for being here. I appreciate you.
Welcome.
And this has been so informative and valuable. And I'm really stoked to make this part of my practice. I mean, even just doing my visualization, I'm going to incorporate even just standing in warrior pose while I do that, or stretching or something to just incorporate my body a little bit more instead of just being stagnant and still. So you've inspired me. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I'm so happy to hear that. That makes me so happy. And guess what I'm going to give you? Good job.
Oh, I got a star. Yay. I love it. Well, you get a star too, because
thank you.
This has been fantastic. It's been a pleasure having you here. Yay. And Sabrina's thanking us. Jesslyn,
you're so welcome. You're so welcome.
Thank you. And anyone watching as the replay, let us know you watched as a replay. And if you have any questions, I can definitely pass them on to Megan. But I hope you join us for this workshop week that's coming up, the 14th to the 18th. It's going to be fantastic. I love it. Ooh, Sabrina, look at that. She's got all the stars for you.
Yeah, good job. Gold stars all around, everybody.
Gold stars. All right,
And
everyone.
those out like candy now.
Yeah, better than dollar bills. Well,
Yeah.
a
Maybe
little
we get
bit.
both.
Yeah, both is good. Both is good. Thank you, everyone, for being here for Wellness Wednesday. Take care, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Take care. Thank you.